Abigail, I've known you for more than a year now, and not once have you ever mentioned that, I said as I held the phone to my ear. At the time, she was in Georgia looking for props from the blossoming film industry over there, with Hope. Their plan was Hope poofs them both there to save on travel time and cost, and then they rent a U-Haul and drive it back with everything they found. But fun fact, neither of them know how to drive. Well, while Abigail was gone, this new vampire girl shows up at the hotel where Travis works, and was supposed to start this whole program where she learns how to live with the condition, and it was partially taught by, Abigail, who was currently preoccupied. So she calls and asks me to go meet the girl and make sure she wasn't overwhelmed or anything like that.
Please?
She begged from the other end of the phone.
I'm working on this deal with a guy who has a bunch of stuff from The Walking Dead. I'll let you pick some stuff out for yourself if you do.
Yeah, okay, fine, I surrendered. How's Hope?
She won't stop complaining about everything.
She groaned. Abigail.
What?
Be nice. I told her as I spun the back wheel of my bike and dripped some fresh oil on the chain. Little butterflies fluttering around in my stomach as I thought about how close I was to being free from my debt to Adeline. Just a few more days, I thought excitedly as I looked over at the two bike frames hanging on the far wall. Riss's old, broken frame, and the one Madison got me after that one broke, and thought about how I still didn't know if that all seemed like so long ago, or like it only just happened.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Just go check on the girl and tell her I'll be back in a few days,
Abigail said. I will, just don't steal anything. Abigail? Yeah, she hung up on me. I sighed as I put my phone away. While I was doing that, Destiny walked downstairs from the bedroom where she'd be getting dressed. You taking orders? It's kind of early, isn't it? She asked when she noticed me sliding my arms through my straps on my delivery bag. Oh, yeah, eventually. Abigail asked me to run by the hotel. She wants me to check in on some girl that's getting there once the sun goes down. Tell her she'll be there in a few days. I answered as I slid my feet into my shoes. Have you seen my badge, just in case? I asked when I saw it wasn't on the table near the door where I usually left it. On the counter, she told me, pointing over at where I'd exhaustedly dumped everything out the night before. Jose, you need to take it easy. I know it's important and all, but it's been almost a year of you riding around all night making deliveries and then doing the chief inspector thing whenever they need you. And then there's the Athena thing that I'm still not a huge fan of. You look like shit. It's wearing you down. Just a few more days. Promise. I said to her as I wiggled my heel into my shoe. Look, I added, holding up the notepad to show her how close I was to being paid up and totally free. Every single dollar, Dest. Every last cent ever since they made me chief inspector. I've been dumping straight back into paying off Adeline. Just a few more days, I explained as I wrapped my arms around her. Okay, just be careful, she sighed. You gonna help get things ready for the festival? Oh, no, not yet. We don't have to do that for a few more days. I'm headed to the water park. I got the promotion before the Halloween party too. She answered as she pulled her hair back up into a ponytail. Oh yeah? That was supposed to be a pretty big deal, right? You excited about it? Mm-hmm, she said excitedly as she put her own shoes on. Good, I'm glad you're enjoying it over there, I told her, giving her a quick kiss on the cheek. You gotta tell me about it when I get back. Okay, she chirped happily. She grabbed the keys and wallet. Love you, she said before she vanished with a soft poof. Hey Rissa, you in here? I asked as I stuck my head into the office after I left the apartment. Back room, I heard a call from deeper inside. Oh, okay, I'm headed out. You got your key? Huh? Oh yeah, it's on my desk. See when you get back, she answered in the distance. By then, I was the last of us still working for CERBER. After Madison apparently snapped at Adeline and quit, Rissa followed close behind, but still wanted to work with the paranormals like the rest of us. And at the time, the apartments that Sobek had bought and turned into housing for mostly people who work alongside the paranormal, he gave her the job of managing the place for him. And she loved it. Still wouldn't move into her own place though. She said she didn't want to use up another room unnecessarily. I never really pressed the issue. They just dropped her off and left? I asked as I stood there with Travis in the lobby of the hotel. Yeah, they're all just... Jesus, he answered with a heavy sigh as his shoulders dropped. Don't even get me started. How many of them are still alive? Has to be some kind of miracle, I swear to God. That bad, huh? I asked as I pulled a chair up and sat down. Oh yeah, some of these people who wander into this world, they got no survival instincts. Hey, remember when I owed the Hells Angels money and they kidnapped you because they thought you was me and then... Vividly, I said as he trailed off mid-sentence when he saw the shitty look on my face. She's probably still checking out a new room. I'll go get her, he said, turning and jogging down the hallway to the left of the front desk. Hey, Amanda! Amanda, come here real quick! Huh. This place is actually pretty nice without all the weirdness. I thought out loud as I looked around the lobby. After a while of waiting, I stood up and went over to see where Travis had wandered off to. It took a while before I was able to hear voices in the distance, and after following the sound, I finally found Travis, along with the Sasha woman. Oh my God, there's two of you. She sighed when she looked up and saw me standing behind Travis. You say that every time you see me. Because I'm still not okay with it. She sat back as her attention shifted down to the young blonde girl standing between her and Travis. Once I had the chance to take the whole scene in, I could tell the girl had been crying. And that's when I knew I had to see what was going on. Hey, what's your name? I asked once I walked over to her. Amanda, she answered with a sniffle. My name's... She stopped mid-sentence when she looked up and saw my face. After taking it in for a second, she looked over at Travis, then back at me, then back at Travis. Twins, I told her as she started to sort out the situation. I'm the good one, I added, which only seemed to confuse her even more, probably thinking my scarred face and darker complexion made me look like the evil twin of the two. Anyway, you want to tell me what's going on? It's the showers here, she mumbled, wiping a tear from her cheek with the sleeve of her hoodie. The showers? What's wrong with the showers? I asked, leaning forward and resting my hands on my knees. They're all just open. I need a shower, but it's embarrassing. They're open? I said to myself as I realized I was standing in a locker room. So I walked around and found the actual shower area and saw what she was talking about. There wasn't a guys and girls or anything. It was just one open area like a prison shower or something. Not an ounce of privacy at all. Ah, yeah, okay, I see what she means, I thought to myself as I was unable to peel my eyes away from the orange monstrosity at the other end of the showers, and the tree trunk swinging between his legs. What are you doing? Travis asked as he followed behind me. Looking for something, I answered, noticing the fun time sign from when Relic brought me. Ah, there it is, I told him as I pointed down at the door across from us with manager spelled on the outside. What? No, absolutely not, he shouted, jumping in between me and the door. But he wasn't quick enough. Muscly bicycle legs have always been good for juking annoying brothers, and by the time he knew what had happened, I was already knocking on the door. It's open, the voice inside said. So I twisted the knob and walked through. What can I do for you, young man? The strange figure sitting behind the desk asked as I stood in the middle of the office. Oh, yeah, you know the girl who just got here? I know of her. We've yet to meet, however. What seems to be the problem? We've got an issue with the shower situation. She's still just a kid, and she's in tears over the whole prison shower thing you've got going on here. There's no privacy for her in there, and you got giant swinging redwoods in there. Not kid-friendly. We gotta do something about that shit. Right? I said, turning to look at Travis, who was just standing there with his jaw hanging open for some reason. Privacy? The manager asked, resting his elbows on his desk. Yeah, lots of people get embarrassed being naked around other people, especially teenage girls. She's really upset. She's upset, you say? Right. Let's go take a look at this, he said, standing up and walking around the desk. You must be Amanda, he said once we were back in the showers. She answered with another sniffle before looking up and seeing who she was talking to, before freezing like a stone and all the color leaving her face all at once. Let's see what we can do for you. He went on as he straightened up and walked over to the showers. After looking around, he waved his hand over a space in the wall. A few seconds later, a small hole formed and began to grow larger and larger until it was a full-size door with Amanda on the front. Then he reached out and opened it and stepped aside so she could see in. How's this? He asked. From the outside, I could see the first space was a small version of the locker room we were standing in, and towards the back was what looked like her own shower area. Thank you, she said with a little tremble still left in her voice as she looked inside. If you need anything, don't hesitate to let me know, the manager said as he put his hand on her shoulder. I'm quite different than you are, and I might not understand everything about your world, so I need you to tell me if there's something wrong, okay? Yes, sir, she answered with a small nod before he turned back and walked my way. Keep up the good work. Maybe you'll finally get things under control out there, he added before disappearing down the hallway. Okay, there you go. Problem looks like it's all worked out. Want to go give it a test run? I asked Amanda once he was gone. She mumbled as she stepped out of the locker room. Thank you, she said as she gave me a quick hug before grabbing her fresh clothes off the bench and running back into the small locker area. You still not paid off your debt? I asked Travis as we walked back towards the lobby. It's been what, a year now? You still not paid off your debt? It's been what, a year now? He parroted back. Huh, okay, fair enough. But I'm almost there. Maybe a day or two, I think? I answered as we kept walking. What about you? Me? Oh, I'm paid up. I just like it here. Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too, I said to myself as I turned to walk through the front entrance. Keep an eye on that girl for me. She's been through a lot, I called back over my shoulder before I left. And now here at this point I have to pass the torch to Rissa for a little while to, as she says, preserve the integrity of the story. That means she doesn't trust me to tell the truth. So, take it away from here, Rissa. Rissa! Madison! I heard Jose's voice ask as we rode down the street. The hell are you two up to? Oh, hey! We were just out riding for a little while. She had some time off and I needed to get out of the office, so, you know, I answered with a shrug. Aw, he's jealous that you don't ride around on his bike anymore, Madison mocked from beside me. You want to go for a ride with us for old time's sake? I don't know. It's still kind of hard for me to keep up with you two, I interjected nervously. Especially Jose. He's a completely different person on that bike. What? Nuh-uh, he protested. I am not. I just take more risks than most people would. Nah, she has a point. You do be acting crazy on that thing. Hey, Rissa, you know what they used to call us when we were dating and racing two-person teams? Madison asked with a little giggle. Fast and ferocious. He was the ferocious one. See, even she thinks you're a psycho when you ride. Still never beat me, though. Madison chirped happily. In the crits? Jose shouted. You know you can't beat me in an alleycat because you can't ride as fast on the roads as you can in the closed course. Bet you I can. Let's do it, Jose. Put up or shut up. You got lucky in that last one, but I'll bet you anything you can't beat me again. Madison said as she poked him in the chest. You know what? Let's do it. Just you tell me the time and the place. Jose sat back, swatting her hand away. How the hell did they put this shit together so fast? Jose asked from beside me a few hours later as we stood at the starting line, surrounded by a crowd of other riders. You told Jonah, didn't you? He added, turning to face Madison. I told Jonah. The guy knows what he's doing. Look, he's got drone pilots out here and everything. I looked over to see a small group of people messing around with some kind of small machines that I finally realized were the camera drones. Then I noticed the guys sitting behind on the table on the other side of the starting line with a bunch of screens and sound equipment around them. Then I noticed that they were green. Hey, aren't those the Brooklyn felonist guys? I asked, tapping Jose on the shoulder to get his attention. Oh yeah, that's definitely them. But why is that them? He asked as he turned around to look at the table. Are they broadcasting this shit? Jose still don't know that we're all local celebrities, Madison said, leaning over closer to me. They wouldn't miss this for nothing. Well, you know him. He stays cooped up in the apartment most of the time, watching movies and stuff when he isn't working. I sighed, glancing over at him whilst he was looking around at the still gathering crowd. I don't think he knows how much people look up to him. Yeah. We'll see what they think about him once I run his ass into the dirt, she quipped as she flicked the chain on her bike to check the tension. Get ready. It's about to start. Yeah, okay. I sighed as I walked back into the crowd. But before I could get very far, someone walked up to me and tapped me on the shoulder. Huh? Who's that? I asked absently as I turned to see who it was. No, come over here. No, you sit over here, he told me as we ended up next to the Brooklyn felonist table. Okay, so I just sit. Sure, I stammered as I eased myself down into my seat. You look kind of nervous, Jonas said as he sat down beside me. Yeah, I don't think they've really seen Jose cut loose on his bike before. Well, you'll see, I warned him as I squirmed uncomfortably. And then the guys at the table got louder. The show finally got started. Ladies and gentlemonsters, we got a special treat for you tonight. In the case of shit talking gone bad, we finally get to see Madison, the dirty work diva, herself go one-on-one with the man, the myth, legend himself, Jose. Lynn, tell everyone about the festivities we got going on here tonight. One of them said before turning the mic over to the other. I'm telling you what, Brooke, we got one hell of a show for them tonight. What's happening here is what's called an alleycat race. And for those of you that don't know out there what that means, an alleycat race came into prominence in the bike messenger community. So the deal here is, unlike a traditional race, what our contestants have to do is reach multiple destinations and have their card marked with a stamp unique to that location. Then, once they've got each individual stamp, they make their way to the final destination. The first one to get there with a full card is your winner. The gimmick is that there's no predetermined route that the racers have to follow. They can get there however they choose as long as they're on their bike. Now that we've got that out of the way, we got the Franken gal herself over here with us at the table. So, Rissa, why don't you tell us about those fine machines our racers are piloting tonight? What? I asked absently at the mention of my name. The bikes? You want me to tell you about their bikes? You got it. Now come on over here and tell me and Brooke and get the audience all caught up on what makes these particular bikes so special. Lynn said as he scooted out of the way to make space for me to sit. Oh, yeah, okay. I said nervously as I got up and sat in front of the microphone. So, just talk into the... Okay, so they're both riding track bikes, which in a lot of cases are required for alleycats, but not always. So what exactly makes a track bike a track bike? Lynn asked in that definitely made for radio voice of his. Oh, well, the first thing is that they have to be fixed gears so the back wheel doesn't coast. If the bike is moving, that means the cranks are turning. The ones they're riding also don't have brakes, so they can't just squeeze a lever to stop. I tried to explain the best I could on the spot. And I think they both have track-specific geometry too. So, track-specific geometry, what's that mean? If they're track bikes, they'd already be track-specific, right? Brooke asked on my other side. Well, no. Since regulations are always changing, what counts as track-specific is always changing too. Like my old bike would have been track-specific a long time ago, but it wouldn't be allowed in most official races now. For those of you that might be wondering, our girl here was trapped in the frame of a bike as a ghost up until about a year ago. Lynn suddenly spoke into the mic, which made me shift a little. It seemed so long ago and almost didn't feel real. So the bikes they're rocking look kinda different. Why don't you tell us a little more about what's going on here? Okay, so... Well, Madison is riding her usual Sinelli Vigorelli, and Jose is on a Weapon FGO3. They're actually pretty close to the same bike. They're both steel frames and have similar geometry and carbon forks, but Jose has deep V-rims on steel spokes, and Madison has tri-spoke carbon wheels. And Madison is using pretty standard track drop handlebars, but Jose uses old-school Nitto Pursuit bars, which gives him more hand positions and lets him change the way the bike handles depending on where he's holding them. Where Madison's are more for getting low and being more aerodynamic so she can ride faster. I kept explaining for them. Ah, okay, so similar bikes. But how much difference will the riding style be making tonight? Lynn asked once I was done. Oh, yeah, riding style. Well, I guess you're about to find out. I sighed when I saw the camera drones take flight in preparation for the start of the race. Well, that was oddly ominous. Alright, motherfuckers and motherfuckettes, let's get this party started! Lynn suddenly shouted as Jose and Madison got ready on the starting line. On your marks, get set, get the hell out of here! And then they were gone, the drones right on their tails. It didn't take long before they were out of sight, and I had to turn my attention to the monitors to keep track of them. It didn't take long after that for Jose to start doing Jose stuff. It wasn't late enough for traffic to have died down, so he was, well, being an absolute menace to society. It looked like they were both headed for Hazard Park as their first stop. Madison was taking the direct route, and Jose chose to take the back alleys and sidewalks. It took about 40 seconds for me to have to cover my eyes because I thought he was about to get flattened by a truck. Whoa, Brooke, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Lynn shouted as he bounced around in his seat whilst Jose whipped full speed through oncoming traffic. Look, he's actually putting some distance between Madison. She's trying to play it safe and Jose keeps pressing forwards. Kids, don't try this at home, unless you have a camera. Then try it and send the footage to us at www.
Would you knock it the hell off, you goddamn lawsuit factory?
Brooklyn yelled as he swatted him across the back of his head.
We are definitely gonna catch some shit for this.
He sighed as the sound of car horns blared from the drone feed that was following Jose. Eventually, traffic eased up, and Madison was able to close some distance on Jose. But he still got to the checkpoint first and was gone by the time Madison got there. It didn't take long before I noticed that everyone around us had gotten really quiet as they watched Jose quickly become the scourge of Lincoln Heights and anyone unfortunate enough to be on the roads that night. By then, it looked like they were both headed to the checkpoint at the basketball courts, but then Jose broke off and changed course towards the McDonald's on North Broadway. That's when I looked at Madison's feed. It looked like she noticed him change direction and turned off Lincoln Park Avenue to try and follow. But by then, he was already out of sight. Holy shit, Jose just faked Madison out and cut through someone's backyard and came right back out where he started. This shit is getting wild, boys and girls. Lynn shouted as he stood up from the excitement. This guy is an absolute lunatic. What's he gonna do next? By the time Madison knew what had happened, she had already gone too far. Now, she just had to keep going towards the McDonald's checkpoint and then double back and hit the basketball courts, then turn back around and catch up to Jose. She'd have to make up with all the speed and hope that Jose doesn't start committing all-out war crimes. Jose, you asshole! Madison screamed over his shoulder at him as he pedaled along to the next checkpoint. Eat shit, Madison! He shouted as he turned the corner towards the ball courts. What? She bellowed as she jammed her foot into the rear wheel and snatched her bike around to follow Jose instead. Oh boy, I sighed as she tore up Lincoln Park Avenue as fast as she could. Well, I guess we should probably get ready to call the ambulance, I told Brooke and Lynn as they sat with their faces almost pressed against the screens. Now this is what followers came for, Lynn shouted into his mic. We might actually see bloodshed tonight, people! I knew this was a bad idea. I groaned as I sat back in my seat and forced myself to look at the screen again. It was touch and go for a while, but eventually she started to catch up after the traffic died down and it came to outright speed. But that probably wasn't a great idea, all things considered. Because, well... Looks like she's starting to catch up, Brooke shouted into his mic when she was about 50 yards away and gaining. Looks like without the traffic to keep her back, Jose can't keep up his lead. Once again, Jose was already on his way to the next checkpoint by the time Madison got to the courts. But now there was less distance between them, and they'd ended up at the McDonald's stop at the same time. Jose got there and left first, but there was a brief moment when they were both at the same checkpoint for the first time in the race. And that just inspired Jose to do more Jose stuff. The last checkpoint was at our apartment, and then they had to turn around and ride all the way back down to where we were to reach the finish line. So that meant they were both likely to take Griffin Avenue, since it was almost a straight shot back to us. Just a nice, simple drag race to the end. Or that's what I had hoped. Holy shit, he just bunny hopped the toddler! Lynn barked wildly as he pressed his face against the screen. Jose's dodging cars! Pedestrians are dodging Jose! The police are probably being called. Oh my god, I sighed as I cringed at the havoc Jose was causing on the road once Madison started to get too close for his liking. All the bullshit he pulled, riding sidewalks and blasting through red lights, had given him a little bit of distance again. But Madison had managed to finally stitch a ride on a car, just long enough to catch back up to the last few hundred yards, and Jose didn't like that. Here they come, folks! Brooks exclaimed, almost standing out of his chair. It's anyone's race! Who's it gonna be? He added as he watched Madison's front wheel start to pass Jose's rear one, and then he did another Jose. Just as her front wheel was close enough, Jose whipped his rear wheel to the side and knocked the tip of hers just out of alignment, making her whole bike wobble and almost lose control as she had to slow down to keep from running headfirst into the corner of an alley. Jose, you shit-ass! Madison screamed at him as he sped forward across the finish line and handed in his card to the judge. Oh my god, what a race, everyone! Lynn shouted as he watched Jose take the win. That said, we really need to scram. I think I hear police sirens heading this way, and I do not want to have to explain my green ass to any of them. Jose, what the hell is wrong with you? I shouted at him after we'd all got good and far away from the alley. What? It was just a stupid race, he asked, seemingly confused about the question. You bunny hopped a child. What? No, I didn't, he answered indignantly. Don't just make shit up. Look, there's video of it this time. I swear to God, you're like a werewolf on that bike, but instead of turning into a wolf, you turn into an asshole. I scolded him as I showed him the footage from the live stream. Oh Jesus, is that what I'm really like? I tried to say before I felt a loose plank from a wooden pallet break over the back of my head.
You shit-eating dickbag, you almost took me out!
Madison yelled as the broken piece of wood skipped across the ground.
Ah, god damn, I'm sorry, okay?
I said as I rubbed the throbbing part of my scalp.
I swear, I really don't remember doing that.
Well, here, I got another board so I can keep beating you over the head until it shakes your memories loose.
Madison, no, stop!
Rissa shouted before she could get to me.
Hey, we'll be back in a day or two. Maybe 3 at this point.
Abigail said from her end of the phone the next day. Yeah, alright. Shop's still fine. I told her since I've been making regular stops by it since you've been gone. Oh, hold on. I just got a text from Destiny. She says a few people just showed up at the mansion looking for Jekyll. The hell?
Looking for Jekyll? Does she know who they are?
Abigail said as I heard the rustling of boxes in the background. Nah, but she says they seem harmless. Stupid, but harmless. Huh. Anyway, I gotta go. This is it. It's a pretty busy day and the next few orders might get me paid up and free.
Oh yeah? You're really that close?
She asked as the rustling stopped.
Well, congratulations, I guess. Are you...
I'll still be making enough money to go to your shop, I interrupted, already knowing what she was talking about. All my CERBER money's been going straight back to her, so that won't change much, I think. I assured her. Anyway, see you when you get back, I told her as we both hung up. Before I could pull up the app and turn it on, I got another call from Mr. Page.
Your services are needed.
He told me in that droning voice of his.
Someone messed up a family of wood elves' apartment pretty bad. Stop by and take a look.
He told me before giving me the address and sending me off. Oh, damn it, I was so close. I complained as I pulled the badge out of my bag and hopped on my bike.
Hey, there you are.
Louis said as I found the right apartment and walked inside.
So can I go now?
He asked, already easing towards the door. Yeah, sure, I answered dismissively as I looked around. Hey, hon, everything's still in the same place? As far as I know, he answered as he walked out of the bathroom with a pair of rubber gloves and booties on. You don't have to do that. This isn't a murder scene, I told him, apparently embarrassing him a little. Oh, right, sorry, he said, taking them off as I inspected some gashes running along the drywall. Do you see something? Yeah, I think this is pretty open and shut. See the footprints on the carpet? Work boots. And the gashes made by box cutters? The utility knives with those disposable blades. See how thin they are? And look here, the first cut, it left some kind of residue. And do you smell that? Like a duct tapey kind of chemical smell? There's a plant not too far away from here. You go check the footage for the time difference it takes for someone to walk from there to here, match the sole of the work boot to the prints on the rug. That's your guy. I explained as I walked outside and found the occupants waiting in the hallway. Sorry about all this, miss. Just call the number on this card and Mr. Page will cover the cost of all the damage. Once all that was wrapped up and Han was on his way to give some unfortunate vandal a very bad day, I turned the CERBER app on and almost immediately got a bing. Well, at least business is good tonight, I sighed, as I swung my leg over my bike and headed up to the pickup. Oh hey, that's the mansion. I thought to myself about 5 deliveries in as I stared down at the screen. Oh well, job's a job, I said as I went to pick up the food. But the last thing I expected to see when I opened the door was Hook, who was supposed to be away relaxing on the island with his wife at the time. Oh hey Cap, didn't know you were back in town. Just popped in for a spell. Would you like to come in for a while? There's some people here you might want to meet, he asked, stepping aside as I handed him the food. Oh, nah, it's just starting to pick up. It's crazy out there tonight, and I want to get the last few orders out of the way so I can wash my hands of the whole thing. Ah, I understand. Good luck, boy, he told me as he walked back inside and closed the door behind him. Here you are, everyone! I could still hear him shout as I turned to leave. That explains the obbies, I thought to myself as I hopped back on my bike. But before I could start pedaling off, my phone beeped. It was a text from Han. You were right. We caught the guy that tore the place up on a convenience store camera in between there and the plant you were talking about. Had a box cutter with drywall on the blade and his boots matched the prints in the carpet too. Good work. I appreciate your help, I texted back. What's the penalty? Formal in-person apology, and Page will be garnering his wages until the damage to the apartment is paid off, and he will be put on the watch list. Okay, cool. Let me know if anything else comes up. I sent one last text before riding off. I'm almost there. Come on. I thought out loud as I stood in the parking lot staring at my phone and waiting for what would hopefully be my last order ever. And then it happened. Bing! Oh my God. No way. I thought as I looked down at the screen. Before long, I was standing in the hallway in front of Relic's door holding his usual order from one of his favorite places along with something for myself. Come in, he told me as he opened the door and stepped aside. Did you do this on purpose? I asked as I sat down next to him on the couch for the first time in what felt like forever and started pulling food out of the bag and onto the table. But he didn't answer. He just picked up the remote and started flipping through the movie menu. What smells like burning armpits? He finally asked as he found the right one and hit play. Oh yeah, regular customer. Breathes fire and gets pissy when they get the order wrong, I answered as I looked down at the scorched leg of my shorts. So, what now? He asked as he picked up one of his cheeseburgers and took a bite. I guess I have a lot more free time for one, and I think might sound stupid, but I'm gonna keep moving forward with Yahweh's plan. You're going to... what? He asked, picking up the remote and pausing the movie. What's that supposed to mean? Well, not the whole thing, but part of it. Even if it was for the wrong reasons. It was the right idea. The longer I look, the more I'm getting Jim Crow vibes from this whole thing. The whole reason people like Adeline are able to take advantage of them so bad is because they can't go out in public and interact with regular people. But what if they could? You want to help the paranormal world go public? He asked, a little caution in his voice. Slowly, yeah, it can work. I think that there's already a lot of us working inside the paranormal world. It kind of proves that. But it'd have to be done slowly over a long time, I told him as I took a bite of my own burger. It'd be wrong to use the position I'm in not to do something about it, right? I suppose you have a point. But be careful. You'll be stepping on a lot of toes, namely Adeline's, figuratively speaking. He told me once he relaxed and picked his burger up off the table. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I thought out loud as I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone out of its pocket. I'd say it's been fun, but I sighed as I hit the uninstall button and watched the CERBER app disappear forever. After that, I had just enough time to type out a text message before my phone started to ring.
Hello, Jose.
I heard Adeline's voice slither through the phone as I hit the speaker button.
It looks like you've finally paid up.
Looks like it, I said absently as I continued to poke at my phone.
Well, I hope there's no hard feelings. It's just business, you know?
No hard feelings, huh? Yeah, just remember you said that. I mumbled as I hit the send on the message I'd been typing.
What's that supposed to mean exactly?
She asked, a little curiosity creeping into her voice.
Jose, what are you up to?
Adeline, you're horrible. You're evil. You're a spiteful, manipulative person, and you deserve everything that's coming, I said as I sat the phone down on the table and kicked back to enjoy the moment. I'm going to ruin you. Everything you built, everything you have, I'm going to burn it down if it's the last thing I do.
Who do you think you are?
She started to yell, but before she could finish, I could hear a voice in the background from her end.
Huh? What was that?
She asked the source of the voice.
Well, we have a bit of a problem. Current activity shows that as of right now, nobody in Los Angeles County is using the CERBER Feast app, and almost nobody is using the original ride-sharing app. We expect those numbers will also drop to 0 when the rides in progress are completed and those users also delete the app. Wait, but how? Jose, what did you just do? Adeline roared into the phone. What the hell is... Charisse! Where the hell is Charisse?
I heard her shout as the sounds of her screaming faded into the distance on her end, too angry to remember to hang up the phone. Ah, that felt good. I sighed as I looked down at the screen of my phone, tapped the end call button, and watched the Sobek's new Crunch app appear over where CERBER used to be. I couldn't help but smile as I typed another message and hit send. Hey everyone, thank you all so much for dealing with CERBER longer than you had to humor my little bit I was doing. I owe you guys big. It didn't take long before the responses started coming in. No problem, dude. Riders stick together. Don't sweat it, boss man. Anything to help. Any chance to give Adeline the finger. The cops are looking for you. My pleasure, my guy. Here's to the Crunch era. How mad was she? I'd have paid to see her reaction. We stand with Jose. I nearly teared up as I read through everyone who had agreed to help out with the whole coup plan. They were all on board and not a single person let anything slip. Well, toes officially stepped on. I turned and said to Relic with a big grin on my face. We've created a monster. He joked before hitting play on the movie again and getting back to his burger. So, what are we watching? Young Frankenstein, he answered through a mouthful of burger. Yes, I said to myself as I leaned back into the couch and put my feet up. It felt strange to wake up the next morning and be totally free of CERBER forever. But at the same time, I almost didn't know what to do with myself as I laid there staring up at the ceiling. From downstairs, I could hear Rissa and Madison talking in the kitchen. From above, I could hear Louie's goblin scurrying across the roof, probably harassing the squirrels again. But after a few minutes, my phone beeps from its place in my nightstand. I rolled over and checked the screen to see a text from Abigail. Hey, we're back. Want to come help sort through the new stuff? You might get some free props out of it, I read. A few minutes later, I was stampeding down the stairs, past Rissa and Madison and out the front door. Forgot my bike, I mumbled as I crept back in to grab it and take off.
Hey, you forgot to pay rent,
Rissa suddenly said before I could get too far. Oh shit, my bad, I said as I ran back in, wallet half out of my pocket before... Wait, we don't pay rent here anymore. Damn it, Rissa! I groaned as I turned and darted back out the door to hop on my bike. Before long, I was rolling up to Abigail's shop where a small U-Haul was parked in the back. Hey, I started to say to the haggard man sitting behind the wheel. Name's Hank, he grumbled without even looking at me. The little girl gave me $100 to drive this thing here for him. You drove cross-country for Abigail? Abigail! Did you hire a homeless guy to drive you across the country in a U-Haul? Abigail! What? Stop yelling, I can hear you, she shouted from inside the shop door. Well, did you? I asked down at her as she struggled to make eye contact with me. Abigail. What? He's homeless. He doesn't care. You don't care, do you, Hank?
Couldn't give less of a shit if I tried.
Hank grumbled from the truck.
When I smuggle coke up my ass across the border for an extra 50.
It was Hope's idea anyway, she said, pointing an accusing finger towards the back of the shop as she lifted this massive crate of stuff above her head and carried it inside. Are you not seeing this? Does that not freak you out? I asked the man as he stayed put inside the driver's seat.
Ain't being paid to see shit,
he said dismissively as he pulled his old baseball cap down over his eyes. Ugh, whatever. So what did you end up with? I asked as I followed her into the shop. Any good Walking Dead stuff? Several hours of sorting later, Abigail and Hope were arguing up and down the shop about how to organize the new stock when my phone beeps with a text from Destiny. Jose, you might want to get over here. Now, the words on the screen said as I stared down at them. Fighting back the knot in my stomach, I hit the call button. Hey, the hell's going on over there? I asked when she answered.
Well, Travis is over here, and it's a lot to explain, and...
It's okay, just hand the phone to Travis real quick so I can talk to him. I told her once her voice started to shake a little. Okay, tell me what's happening, I said once he got the phone. He was trying to explain, but it seemed like it was hard for him to put it all together and keep it straight. But he did make sure I knew Destiny was having a hard time. So I took a deep breath before saying, yeah, okay, just give me a minute. I'm helping Abigail out the shop and... But before I could finish, Abigail and Hope just started yelling again, to where I couldn't hear myself think.
The hell was that?
Travis asked over the chaos in the background. Hope and Abigail are going at it again. Something about where the new prop should go. I got roped in as the ref. I sighed as I looked over my shoulder at Hope, holding a box way up over Abigail's head. Let me calm this shit down and I'll head that way. I'll get Abigail to come. She might know something about whatever's going on.
I might what? Who's that? Hey, put that down!
Abigail shouted at me from somewhere over my shoulder. Well, I'm gonna have to go deal with this, I thought as I hung up and jogged over to keep the peace. Stop picking on Abigail, please. Who was that? Hope asked as she kept pushing the angry little vampire away from her as she clawed at the box above her head. Sounded important. You're probably right, it was Travis. He said there's some bullshit going on over at the mansion. I think to do with those people who came to see Jekyll a few days ago. I'm about to check it out, I explained as I took the box from her and handed it to Abigail. I'm gonna need you to come with me, I added as she took the box. Huh? Why me? She added as she walked over to one of the shelves and set the box down. Because you know way more about the paranormal world than anyone else, and you might be able to help figure out what's going on, I told her as I took my phone into my backpack. Thanks, Hank. Here's another 100. Abigail said as she handed him a few $20 bills once we were out of the truck. As I got my bike out of the back, I heard the ping of something metal hitting the concrete driveway. I looked down to see a single small nail had fallen out of the back. As I picked it up and looked at it, Hank drove off, presumably to return the truck and wander around LA. I tried to talk him into working for Sobek, but he wasn't having it. Sometimes I still wonder what became of old Hank. Anyway, once he was gone, I tucked the nail away in my pocket, and we both headed into the mansion to find just an absolute shit show from one end of the place to the other. Travis was saying something to Destiny. Hook was talking to Boris and Yuri about something else. Prophecy looked confused as holy hell. There were several people I didn't recognize, but through them I could see Jekyll, who was being chewed out by... Charisse? Hey Charisse, the hell are you doing here? I shouted over the uproar. Oh, hey Jose. I was just giving that bunch a ride and got caught up in all of this. Whatever it is. Oh, so it's not about the... Not about the what? What are you talking about? She asked as we moved off to the side so we could hear each other. The thing with CERBER?
Oh, that's right. You're supposed to be all settled up now, aren't you?
She asked happily, apparently clueless to what I was talking about. Have you not heard von Adlin yet? I asked once I realized she somehow didn't know what was going on.
Not for a day or two. Why?
She asked as she pulled her phone out.
Oh, shit. It died, and I forgot to turn it back on. Whoops. All the excitement, you know.
She chuckled as she held down the power button. Oh boy, if you think this is excitement, I mumbled as I watched the screen glow back to life. Buckle up and drive safe, I added once the text messages came flooding in and she was able to read them.
Oh wow, that's a lot of... Wait. Jose, what did you do? Oh my God, I'm in such deep shit.
She yelled as she pushed past me and took off out the door towards the garage. Shame, I kinda liked her. I sighed, knowing that was probably the last time I'd see Charisse. Hey! Who the hell are these people and what the hell's going on right now? I shouted into Travis's ear over the turmoil. Oh yeah, we should probably cool everyone down and get you up to speed, he told me.
Yo! Hey everybody, can we chill the fuck out for a minute, please?
He yelled over the crowd and finally got them to quiet down a little.
Okay, so this is my brother. He's the chief inspector for the local paranormal community. Whatever he says, you do. All yours, Chief.
He finished, moving aside to let me speak.
Yeah, okay. First thing first.
Who the hell are these three? I asked once all the attention was on me. That's when one of the three, a dark-haired woman with glasses, walked over to me and introduced herself. Hi, sorry about all this. My name's Callie. That's Milo, and she's Tegan, she said as she pointed over at the other two. We're kind of in a mess right now. Okay, yeah, hi Callie. I'm Jose. It's a long story, I added when she started to open her mouth to say something. This is Abigail. She normally lives upstairs in the attic, but she's been out of town for a little while. But hopefully she can help figure out what's happening here, I told her, gesturing to the small woman beside me. Oh, hello. I think I heard Destiny talk about you two, Callie said as she shook our hands. So, you're the boyfriend, huh? I'm the boyfriend, I admitted with a shrug. Lucky, she whispered to me quietly as she looked over at Destiny, who had now taken Charisse's place in chewing out Jekyll for some reason. As she was saying that, the other two strangers walked over to join us. So, what's that over there all about? I asked, pointing at Destiny and Jekyll. Different thing. Come to find out Tegan here was his daughter and he ran out before she was born, Callie answered with a sigh. We weren't expecting that one. We really came here because I accidentally cut myself and got vampire blood in me, and dipshit over here had the bright idea of licking the cut, and everything kinda went haywire and now I'm a thing? The Marty Feldman show. Good one, I chuckled when I caught the reference. You know Marty Feldman? She asked, apparently a little surprised. Yeah, I know Marty Feldman. I just watched Young Frankenstein last night. I've even got his cane from the movie at my place right now, I told her, a little more proudly than I probably should have. Where the hell did you get that? She shouted, now almost an inch away from my nose. From her, I squeaked, pointing down at Abigail. She owns a shop that carries props from all kinds of movies. I got a mount of them in my apartment. It's kind of a hobby of mine, I told her as she shifted her gaze down at Abigail. You want to come see when this is all sorted out? Psh, duh, she answered like I was stupid for even asking. Alright then, we'll go check all that out later, but I still need to know the rest of what's going on, I tried to say, but before I could, it's like Abigail suddenly thawed out.
Wait, hold on. Tegan? Tegan, you're here?
She shouted as she took off towards her and wrapped her arms around the woman. Wait, you know each other? Me and Callie asked at the same time.
Huh? Oh yeah, this is Mika's daughter.
I was kind of spacing out thinking about what kind of mess Hope's making at the shop without me. I just noticed she was here. She admitted as she dropped back down to the floor. Hello, it has been so long, the Tegan woman exclaimed to Abigail as she rubbed her head like a puppy. I am liking your hair. It made me so sad when you cut it short. Story about families, I sighed to myself as I thought about what Athena said about a year ago. Huh, that woman, I swear, and chuckled softly under my breath. What was that? Callie asked as she leaned to hear better. Nothing. Just something someone told me a while back that all this made me think about, I answered as I tipped my head towards one of the halls leading away from the crowd. Let's go for a walk, and you can tell me what's going on. I know all this isn't about some crap with Jekyll and your friend over there. Oh, okay, she said as she followed me down the hallway. So where should I start? From the beginning, and don't leave anything out, I told her as we walked. You okay? I heard her ask through the numb humming that had filled my brain once she was done telling me her story. By then, we had circled all the way around the manor and were back with the group who had gathered near the lounge. Hey, Jose, what's wrong? I heard Destiny ask, which made me realize my mouth had been hanging open. For how long, I had no idea. Jose? Are you fucking retarded? The words escaped my mouth before I knew what had happened. But as bad as it sounded, I'm pretty sure I meant it. Everything she just said made me so angry I couldn't even think straight. Excuse me, did you just call me? Yeah, I know. I'm not supposed to say that, and it's wrong, and I know how it sounds. But seriously, are you fucking retarded? I asked again as my frustration built. Jose, take it easy, Destiny tried to tell me, but I wasn't paying much attention at that point. No! Hell no! Do you have any idea what she just told me? The fact that she's alive right now, that any of her friends are alive right now, is a goddamn miracle. At no point in that story did any of you make the right choice. Sheer luck is literally the only reason you're alive right now. And you too! I shouted past her, pointing at the one she brought with her. You should both be beaten with a garden hose until you forgot how to breathe. You don't just drag random fucking people into fighting vampires. Somebody fucking died. Do you not get that? No, I take that back. 3 people probably died because you were too stupid to know that most people who mix blood with those vampires die. And die painfully. I continued shouting as I pulled one leg of my shorts up so they could see the massive scar on my thigh. You very likely just murdered 2 people. You stupid fucking... Ugh! I groaned as I turned and stormed away. By then, the other 2 couldn't even look me in the eye, and Callie was starting to cry. At that point, I just wanted to find a room and sequester myself away for a while. Jose? What? I shouted before I realized what I was doing. Oh. Hey, Abigail. What is it? I asked as I sat back in the cushions of the lounge couch. Everything okay? I don't think I've ever seen you get like that, she said as she walked in behind me. I sighed as she sat down next to me. So what's wrong? I was just talking to Relic about the whole bringing the paranormal public thing, and today just made me realize what an uphill battle that's gonna be, I said as I stared up at the ceiling. So, do you know Julie wasn't your fault, right? Or fate? Or that cop? She asked as she pulled a small flash drive out of her pocket. What's that got to do with this? I asked, sitting up straight, wondering what the hell she was getting at. Nothing. I just think you might have seen a quick reflection of yourself from back when you're still new to all this and those three. It might have only been a year, but you get that you're not the same guy you were back then, right? You don't look at this world the same way as you did back then. And you have to remember, they aren't you. Not everyone's mind works like yours. You always look for the clever solution. You're not very fond of violence, so your solutions try to avoid it as much as possible. And we love that about you, we really do. But not everyone can think their way out of problems like you can. You have to give the rest of us a little grace. That's all some of us have. But Jose, she suddenly said sternly as she placed her hand on my shoulder, you have to understand you might not always be able to think and scheme problems away. The day might come when there's no other option but to get your hands dirty. Just think about that. Okay?
Yeah, I guess you have a point. I sighed as I looked down on her hand. Is that the,
Oh, yeah, here.
She answered as she handed me the flash drive.
I'm gonna try and find my photocopies of that book. I think this could end up being much bigger than the problem Yahweh ever was.
Huh? How? What's that even mean?
Just for starters, just what's on the drive. It's pretty bad. But the who? Well, come on. Let's go back out there. Destiny is about to have a meltdown with all the emotions flying around out there.
She answered as she pulled me up off the couch like a rag doll. Oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about that. God damn it. I huffed to myself when I realized Destiny was out there in an emotional minefield. So, your brother made this? I asked Hook a little while later, holding the knife that he gave me back when we first met. Well, yes. Our last meeting didn't go all that well, you see. The conversation became a little heated and I snatched my cutlass here off his workbench a little roughly, and this little thing got caught up in the chaos. By the time I noticed, I was too embarrassed to return it, I'm sorry to say. Our dear Miss Abigail here was the one who told me what it really was. Unfortunately, I misheard the bit about the wounds it makes not healing. It took me a while to realize I had been wrong about that little detail. Hook explained as he picked up his cutlass and showed it to us. He made this for me too, a long time ago before we parted ways. We never really saw eye to eye on a lot of things. A lot of things. Yeah, you two couldn't even be more different. Travis said from next to me. You're pretty alright. He's not. Like, really not. I had to take him down to the library and couldn't get away from him fast enough, the rotten bastard. You met him before too? I asked, surprised by what he just said. So, we've all ran into him at some point? Callie asked as I could hear the gears finally turning in her head. I actually don't think I have. Tegan's husband, Milo, finally spoke up. Something about him speaking just aggravated me and made my eye twitch a little. I wasn't with Callie and Teague when they met him. I was just trying to get information out of Mark, but I kinda ended up kidnapping him. Milo? Yeah? He asked as I stared at him from across the room. Stop talking. I warned him as I could see the knots form in everyone's stomach at the sudden mention of that name. Oh, yeah, sorry. He apologized as he sunk back into his chair and started trying to look at anything else but me. That opportune moment was exactly when Hope decided to poof into the middle of the room in full maid attire. Who are you now? Callie asked, after the small shock of her sudden, unexpected appearance. Me? Who are you? Hope asked back indignantly. I asked you first, Callie argued, seemingly getting a little frustrated. Yeah, but the difference is, I can make you tell me. Hope sneered, that familiar malice creeping back into her voice for the first time in a long while. And that's when it finally set in that this poor girl really had no fucking clue who she was picking a fight with. But at the same time, I knew I could trust Hope at this point, and it looked like this girl really needed whatever that was humbled out of her sooner or later. And who better do it than Hope?
You'll make me? Callie snapped as she stood up.
Now see here, everyone!
Hope tried to say as he made an attempt to step between them, but Callie was quicker than I would have thought, which didn't work out well for her in the end. Before she could even reach Hope, she came to a sliding stop as a look I knew way too well washed over her face. Callie dropped to her knees, a wave of agony washing over her as Hope's goofy maid outfit melted away and her skin began to darken, except for her chest that began to glow with that warm light that shone from behind her ribs. The eyes yellowed, and the hair reddened and glowed its own dim warm light. Slowly she knelt down next to Callie, who was still rolling and writhing in misery caused by some malevolent unseen force.
I don't know who you think I am,
she hissed down into Callie's ear.
But I am certainly not what you've been dealing with so far. Don't even let me catch you cutting your eyes at me from now on, or I will lock you in your own mind with the worst of your memories from now until the day you die.
And with that, Callie suddenly stopped moving, as the pain felt like it was never even there. Hey, be nice, I said as Hope walked over to stand beside me.
What? I didn't really mean it,
she argued with a shrug.
You could have done something. You know she needs to get the idea that there's more than meth-slinging low-level vampires out there.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for not actually hurting her, I sighed as I walked over to help Callie to her feet. That's Hope, and you should really not try to antagonize her, I warned once she was upright again. She's the Count's oldest daughter, and she's not someone you want to piss off, understand?
Destiny told me she had 2 sisters.
Callie said as she glanced over at her.
What? No, I didn't. You said you and Prophecy were his only daughters. You said one passed away last year, remember?
Callie argued.
No, I said that Oh, no. I meant... Jose, help.
Destiny whined as she finally gave up. Jeez, okay, come here, I told Callie as I pointed her towards Hope. So that ray of sunshine over there is Dracula's oldest daughter that he amnesia humped into Athena about forever ago. Last year, the Lost Boys kicked in the front door to this place, and fate, another one of his daughters ended up getting killed. Plot twist, we didn't know Hope existed back then. Before that, she was hanging from the wall in an old Nazi death camp under some heating lamps. She broke out when the last UV light holding her in place gave out and assumed the name Scheidenfreude. Then she teams up with Yahweh, the god from the Bible, shows up, starts making my life a living goddamn hell. You still following? I asked when I saw her eyes start to glaze over. Good, I said before continuing. But I ended up getting one over on them and got it to ditch Yahweh and to work things out with Dadula. Turns out her deadbeat mom never gave her a proper name, so now she goes by Hope. But Destiny hasn't really warmed up to it yet. It's a problem, you see. So she likes to be passive-aggressive by telling everyone that she only has 2 sisters, implying that she doesn't consider Hope a real sister. Right, Destiny?
Huh? I just meant that only 2 of us lived here in the mansion.
Oh, yeah, I guess that then. I groaned as I flopped down on a nearby couch. So will somebody please tell me something about what this damn flash drive is? So, what's the problem? I asked once Abigail was done explaining everything. Look around, we've got the Count and Hope. I mean, what the hell do we have to worry about? The next time this guy shows up, they poof over there, take him out or whatever, problem solved, right?
That's just it, Abigail answered. I don't even know what he could be up to. But he's been sneaking around and popping up here and there for who knows how long. And if what Jekyll, Travis, and Hook said was true, and if he's the guy me and Louie ran into in that one night, he might be a much bigger problem than Yahweh, even without Hope. Because, unlike Yahweh, I don't think his plans involve any reasoning or bargaining with. I can't help but think by the time we know where he is and what he's up to, it's gonna be too late. Especially if it has anything to do with the rotting one.
The who? I asked, not knowing what the hell she was talking about.
That book, remember? In Yahweh's letter to the Count? They talk about this entity? Something outside of our reality? Something that wants in. That hotel where Travis works, it's a gate of sorts to a different dimension. Well, different dimensions. But they're still here in our universe. Close, like almost side by side with us.
She explained as she wove her fingers together.
But that's not the same thing as an entirely different universe. I've been reading those copies I made from the book, and this thing, the rotting one, it's something warped and twisted. Evil, in the purest sense of the word, with the force of an entire universe behind it. I think Yahweh caught a glimpse of it when he was performing the ritual on the Count, and it scared him off the idea. But this Ashman, if he's trying to bring this entity, this rotting one, into our universe, we need to stop him. We need to stop him as soon as possible, because if he ends up succeeding, I don't think there's anything we'll be able to do once that happens. What the actual hell did we stumble into?
Callie asked from where she'd sat down across from me during Abigail's explanation to the rest of the group. But before she could even get finished, who comes barging in through the front door other than...
Yo, the hell's got everyone camping out here in the mansion?
Louis asked obnoxiously as he stormed in out of nowhere, his goblin hopping off his shoulder and scurrying across the floor into the middle of the crowd and climbing up Abigail's ponytail like a rope to get to his shoulder.
Holy shit, this place is packed.
Who's that?
Callie leaned over and asked, apparently already having learned to ask a bit more politely after the thing with Hope. That's just Louis. Met him back when he was going to shoot me in the back of the head because he thought I was Travis, I explained as he walked over to see me.
What? What the hell goes on over here with you people?
She asked nervously as she looked around at everyone.
Hey, how you doing, Chief?
Louis asked as he reached out to shake my hand.
I said you figured that shit out over the Wood Elf apartment pretty quick.
We got a real shit show going on here right now, I sighed. Let's try and get you caught up.
Should have put a bullet in the prick when I had the chance.
Louis groaned as he ran his fingers through his hair once I was finished explaining everything.
Well, he had a knife to my throat at the time, so I guess you get a free pass on that.
Abigail said as she played with the goblin on the floor. At the same time, Callie was staring, mouth agape, at the goblin as it rolled around in front of her.
It still don't sit right with me that the prick was right there,
Louis sighed as his back slid down the wall he'd been resting against.
So, what's the plan, Chief?
What? Me? The hell am I supposed to do? I asked when he turned to look at me. This is way, way above my pay grade, pal.
I mean, you got a pretty good track record,
Destiny said as she walked around the group to stand beside me.
Oh,
I grumbled as I sat down on the floor. Cap, what do you think? Well, I'm inclined to side with Destiny. You're better at thinking these things out than the rest of us. And you're official now, boy. You have an actual responsibility to this sort of thing, he answered from down the hall. But I'll be with you the whole way. God damn it. Okay, so how about this? I said after thinking for a while. You, Callie, you're still waiting for Jekyll to work out whatever your deal is and what to do about it, right? So regardless, you're probably going to be here for a little while no matter what.
Yeah, I guess,
she answered as she finally tore her eyes away from the goblin. And I imagine this whole Tegan-Jekyll thing still needs some ironing out, right? I asked Tegan, who had been picking absently at a dress.
Mm-hmm.
She agreed softly before returning to her fidgeting.
Okay then, so what we'll do is me and Jailbait will try and sort through all this and see what we can come up with, I told him as I pointed over at Abigail. In the meantime, I'll have everyone keep their eyes out for anything out of the ordinary that might be related to the situation. But right now, we don't have a lot of information going on. Not where he is, not where he's going, not what he's even doing. So all we can do is wait. But Travis is going to let the hotel know what's going on. Louie's going to tell the rest of Dirty Work Inc. Destiny is going to put the word out at a job. And I'm going to talk to Paige and get Sobek's whole network involved. I think with how important this might be, that shouldn't be too hard. Everyone like the sound of that? Once everyone had nodded in agreement, I let myself breathe easy for a second and relax. Okay, then everyone spread out. It's getting too crowded in here. Go on, go do something. Anything, I told him as I waved them off into the mansion. Hold on, I said, catching hope before she left. What is it? She asked curiously as she stopped in place. I'm going to be relying on you a lot here. You know the places paranormals go when they don't want to be found. And you wouldn't be in as much danger in those places, so search around and see if anything turns up. Use your whole bag of tricks. I played it off cool, but I'm kind of freaking the fuck out here. So, let's wrap this up as fast as we can, okay? Sir, she said as she comically saluted me and clicked the heels together before vanishing with a soft hiss. I think, looking back, that might have been the exact moment I could almost hear the clock start ticking as I thought about what was out there and what might come next. Epilogue from Josh the author. Okay everyone, since these little epilogues at the end of a season are basically established tradition at this point, here we go. I'll try to keep it short since these last parts have been so long and I've really put Scott through the ringer on this one. So let's get into it. He's right, I'm in so much pain. First things first, just like it said in part 1, this is the end of the series. No more I Ride for CERBER or CERBER stories in general from me. 3 long seasons in is enough and I made sure to send this one out with a bang. More parts than usual, learned how to do animation to make the opening and closing animations, and did original art for each individual part. It took me a year to write, and it took us over a half a year to get through the narrations. I think we did okay for a final season. But that doesn't mean the story's over, as you can probably tell. If you've been following along closely, you might have noticed that Werewolves Are Assholes, Worst Hotel, and this story all end on the same point, and just a little further along. It's taken over 5.5 years to get here, but we're finally looking down the barrel of the last stretch of the story where Callie's, Travis's, Jose's, and Louie's stories all come together for the final crescendo. So be on the lookout for that. But I still need to finish it, and Scott, I imagine, needs a break from all this for a little while too. And I know what you're probably about to ask. What about the worst verse? Once that's all over, will that be the end? The answer is no, not really. It's the end of the existing series for sure. Stories need to end, but I've already got 3 new series started. We Deal in Dreams, a story about a young girl who gets roped into working for a mysterious stranger, making deals where people trade their soul for their deepest desire. Tales of Haley Handiwork, a collection of stories told by various people who use the ritual mentioned at the end of Handiwork. And Where Monsters Play, a story about a down-on-his-luck man who stumbles into the paranormal world when he starts working at the water park from Jose's day off. And you can read the first parts of each of these series right now on my, yep, you guessed it, Patreon. Yeah, I know. Oh, here we go. Now we have to listen to the sales pitch, but hear me out, because this is a bigger deal than just you and me. I have several tiers on my Patreon that range from $1.50 to $20, and they all give you the same access to all the content I post there.
In fact, I try to dissuade people from joining the $20 tier and steer everyone to the $150 tier. I don't want your hard-earned spending money. I want everyone's chump change. The more subscribers on there, the more time I can spend writing. And that's true of me and your other favorite writers. If they have a Patreon of something similar, subscribe to them. Guys, look at the view count on these videos. There's thousands of you. It only takes a fraction of you chipping in $1 or so a month to help all your favorite writers do this thing part or even full time. Listen here, guys. Come closer. Little closer. No, too close. Back up a little. There is no downside to your favorite writers among us having more time to write. The writers get compensated for their work, you get higher quality content on a regular basis, and the narrators get more views and subscribers, which grows their channel. Personally, I want to see how far I can take this. Not to get too personal, but as some of you already know, I lost my mom back in July, and she was a big supporter of my writing, and really wanted me to do something with it. So that's what I'm doing here now. I've got the big worst verse plans for the future. You always have the subreddit where all this started, and the big announcements happen. You can also see story-related memes by the community and official character art by me. There's the Discord. It's a pretty casual, relaxed bunch of people who share a common interest in the stories. And that's where you can go find the not suitable for worst verse channel to see the extra spicy character art. And there's another project I have planned. There's a manga I want to do called Live Girls, and since it's something I'll likely be crowdfunding, I won't have to have a special consideration to things like YouTube standards and policies. It can be as dark and disturbing as I can make it. And it will be, without a doubt. And to address the last question you're probably asking, I already have a 3rd season of Dirty Work Inc. planned, but I'm holding it as ransom. I'll do the 3rd and final season of Dirty Work Inc. if and when I can ever reach a point where I can say I write at least part-time. So those are the terms for that. The 3rd season is being held hostage until then. So there's a lot of things already planned for the future moving forward and even more to come. But as for right now, it's already been a crazy ride that finally brought us all here to the end of the road. Please remember to check out Josh's new book, Winter Camp, which is currently being sold, linked in the description below. And check out his Patreon, that is also linked down below.